Wander Wealthy Podcast, episode 259. Welcome to the Wander Wealthy Podcast. My name is Tess Wicks. I'm the host of this show, founder of Wander Wealthy, and money coach turned business coach for all my fellow money coaches. Whether you are brand new to the world, you're even just aspiring to be a money coach, or you're seasoned and looking for a community, looking for answers, this is the podcast for you. We talk all things building a money coaching business, how to find those clients, how to market your program, how to sell that, but also how to actually build a program, how to delight clients with an amazing life-changing experience, and how to be the best money coach you can be. And today I'm going to be sharing with you how the Wealthy Coach Blueprint, which is my signature program, has helped to generate $150,000 in sales, in revenue for the coaches who have gone through the program. And that is just the amount of money that the coaches who have gone through the program made while they were in the Wealthy Coach Blueprint or just as they were graduating. That's all. Because we don't have a great system in place. I need to work on that, but we don't have a great system in place for tracking continuing income going further after they graduate the program. But still, $150,000 in income, in revenue from their clients. And that's just the financial part of it. That doesn't show the impact that they're making. It doesn't even begin to capture the number of lives that they're changing on a ripple effect level. But it's still something that can help you see that A, there is money to be made in the money coaching world. You can absolutely turn this into a business. And B, people need and want money coaching. There's people out there, and there are people just like you that are turning this into businesses, and then there are their clients who need what their coaches are selling them, who need this education, this accountability, this level of support to help their clients actually change their own lives. And the actual financial ripple effect is way, 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 way more enormous than that $150K in income for the coaches, but that's, as far as I can calculate with an actual tangible number. So I want to share with you how the Wealthy Coach Blueprint has been able to do that for the money coaches, financial coaches, wealth coaches, even mindset coaches who have been through the program, how they're able to actually go out there, get clients, get revenue in their business, and actually have a business and build a business, some of them going full-time in their coaching businesses already, and make this big impact on the world. So we're going to dive into that. If you're curious to know even more of the nitty-gritty details of the blueprint, you can head to wanderwealthy.com/blueprint and find out more there. Applications are open for anyone who's looking to join me during the spring-summer session. I only have a very few spots available because lots of things are also going on in life right now, including this wedding that we've been postponing for 2 years. We're ready to finally get married and make it happen. But yes, we do have spots available, and if you are feeling called to taking this next step, I invite you to fill out an application. Super simple, no strings attached, but give me some information about who you are, and then we can connect and see if the blueprint is right for you. So head to wanderwealthy.com/blueprint to get all of those details and fill out your application. But let's just dive into it. For those of you who are curious about the blueprint and want to stick around to know a little bit more about what it is about the blueprint, what we actually teach our clients who go through it, the money coaches who go through it, and how they're actually able to see results, I wanted to kind of peel back the curtain a little bit and walk you through that so you can have a little bit more peace of mind knowing that this is a truly valuable program and you really see real change. The coaches that go through this evolve on not only a business level, they not only, see results there, but also on a personal level, they build so much more confidence around what they're offering. They know who it is that they're looking to serve, and they trust that okay, now this is a money-making business and I can do this. And I've just proven that to myself. And I want to share with you how we're able to do that. Okay. So I think the first thing that makes the Wealthy Coach Blueprint really, really special is that it's buildable. Almost every step builds off the step before it. And so it feels like a natural progression through the program. It's not just a ton of information thrown at you all at once for you to have to figure out how to sort through. I made a very conscious decision to break it down step by step. And even though I know how eager I am to get into the nitty-gritty stuff of the business stuff and how eager a lot of my clients can be, we make sure that we do the work on the front end to set my clients up for a good foundation to build off of. So there are 8, I call them phases, but you could consider them steps in the program. And like I said, each one builds off of each other. And so it's a natural progression. It's also doable. Like I said, it's not a ton of stuff thrown at you all at once. It's something that you can do even if you have a full-time job right now, or even if you are crazy busy, you have maybe your children that you are also taking care of, or maybe a loved one, home to take care of, and I guess anything and everything in between. It's doable so that you can get it done in the hours of the week that you do have available. And it's also sustainable. It's sustainable because you obviously can sustain through the 3 months of the program, the 12 weeks that we work together, but you can even sustain beyond that because what you learn in the program and how we build off of it, each step off of the step before it, it allows you to understand how your business can continue to sustain itself as you graduate from the program and go beyond. So not only is it a process that works, but it's also a process that you are going to get through. And I built that really strategically because let's just show a show of hands. How many of us have taken a program and not finished it? And maybe for one, because it's just all this information thrown at you at once and you feel overwhelmed. And maybe on the other hand, you don't have that support kind of pushing and pulling you through each step and making sure you're getting that stuff done. Well, we do that in the Blueprint because we have that buildable curriculum. And then of course, you get the support and the accountability from me as your personal coach. So it's that on the forefront. And I need to kind of explain that because I want to get into each of those steps and kind of share what we really cover within each. And as I take you through this episode, I want to share how each of those steps answers some really key questions that almost all new and even many seasoned money coaches have. Because I think one of the reasons you might, and I know I felt really stuck in a lot of ways, whether it was starting with money coaching or even as I was many months, if not years into actually doing money coaching, I still had a lot of questions that really froze me in time and made me question or doubt or just waver on taking that next step forward on, bringing on new clients or saying yes to a client who I just wasn't sure, if I could help them or how I could help them. And all of those questions that you have, I think what the Blueprint does right and how we're able to kind of unlock that door that stops a lot of coaches from making that income and making that impact is that we answer these questions and we answer in a way that, from my end of being your coach, I'm sharing my own experience of how I've handled it. But I'm also sharing, sometimes it's do as I say, not as I do, what I learned from maybe doing something wrong. So as we go through, I think the best way to break down these steps that build off of each other is sharing the specific questions that we're answering within each of these steps. And hopefully that helps you see the Wealthy Coach Blueprint as a program has the answers I'm looking for my money coaching business and what I want to build. And I think before we dive into the steps, the very first question for a lot of people that the Wealthy Coach Blueprint answers the second you invest in this program is that question, how do I get started? So many people get stuck from that very first thing because they just don't know what that first thing is that they need to do. They don't know how to start. And by making this investment and kind of committing to this future of you building a money coaching business, in a way, you answer that question for yourself because now you don't have to figure that out. I'm going to share that with you through these 8 steps, and then also all the additional questions that we answer within the steps. So if that's your very first question, obviously investing in this program and this level of support is going to partially answer that question for you immediately, but then obviously every single step is the answer to that question, and we just start baby stepping you through it. So as we get into it now, the very first step is really about the business model of coaching, of specifically money coaching and building this online coaching business, and also how you scale it up. So we answer the question, can you really build a scalable money coaching business starting with one-on-one coaching, which is what I always recommend everyone to do, is become an expert and become a really amazing coach one-on-one so you can scale beyond that. But the question is, can you really build this scalable business starting there? And what does that business model even look like? And so we walk through that and I share with you kind of different thresholds of when you're ready for that next step, based off of rules of thumb. Obviously, it's your business, you're going to feel it out, but we really get into that nitty gritty so you can understand, what does my next year look like? What do my next 5 years look like? What do my next 10 years look like? And you can start to see when it's time to scale beyond where you're at. I think a big problem that we have, as humans, but also especially if you're looking to build your own business, is getting a little bit too caught up too far down the line. And you're trying to answer questions that are like a year, even like 6 months, but a year and even 3 years into the future without answering the questions that are coming up right now, without solving the problems that you're facing right now. And it's really hard to solve problems, right, that might stem from problems that we aren't even facing. But a lot of us are trying to do that. We're trying to go like, okay, well, how can I scale to $1 million without first figuring out how to scale to, 6 figures? And I think, we get in our head because so many people are talking about like building your 7-figure business or multiple 6-figure business. And it's like, whoa, let's build like a $50,000 business first and foremost. And then we can answer that question as we go. So that's a big one that we focus on right away because I want you to recognize, where we need to be focusing our effort and energy right now. The other questions that we resolve in this very first step is, okay, I'm a little confused. How can I make sure I'm not overstepping and doing things that I'm not qualified for or that I'm not allowed to talk about or do, that maybe a financial advisor or a registered agent, insurance agent might do? Like, how can I make sure I'm not like overstepping that line? And we look at the difference there and really get into detail around, the lane you should be staying in versus the lane where you can refer out. And, even just the overall job and role of a money coach, of a financial coach. We look at the numbers, we break down the numbers, we identify your actual income goals so we can use that information later on in the program and really just touch on this baseline of questions that so many people have when they're just getting started. As we move into the second phase, we're not even yet getting into the nitty gritty. And it's, again, not because I don't want to, I always want to. And usually in our coaching calls, we still talk about some of these things, but I still know that there's work to be done on you as the entrepreneur. So now that we have like the foundation out of the way with step 1, phase 1, we're going to get into you and building your strong mental foundation, because the number one thing that gets in the way of every single business owner and entrepreneur and usually stops them from doing what they want isn't necessarily because they don't know how to do something or they're not qualified to do something or they can't figure out how to become qualified. It's because they don't believe they're allowed to do it, or they don't believe they can do it, or they doubt anyone wants this. And so it's us. We get in our own way so often. So what we focus on doing in the second step or phase is developing an identity of who you are when you're at your most confident and like kick-ass state, so that you can tap into that when you're not feeling so hot. We're answering the questions like, how do I show up more confidently? How can I gain more confidence? How can I feel good about what I know and what I want to provide and how I want to, work with people? And maybe you're not asking those questions about yourself right now because you haven't stepped into that uncomfortable zone. You haven't, or I should, in a better way, say you haven't stepped out of your comfort zone to really experience that flood of, usually negative emotions that say, hey, you're not like in your comfort zone. Go back. It's not safe out here. Right. But once you do that, and maybe you have experienced that, and now you're going, oh crap, how do I handle this? How do I deal with all these emotions? How do I deal with the thought gremlins that are doubting everything that I do? We answer that in the second step. And for those who haven't been asking those questions yet, you might think, well, why do we need to talk about that in the second step? Why can't we get into the nitty-gritty? And the reason is because once you move on to step 3 or phase 3 of the program, you're going to get real uncomfortable. And I know it, right? And that's why we're here. That's why we're building a business, is because we want to step out of our comfort zone. We want to do something different. And that in and of itself is saying, like, you want to get out of your comfort zone. And in order to do that, I need to make sure that you're psychologically ready and that you have the tools to help deal with that. And that's why, even though we want to zoom right past it, phase 2 is all about slowing down and going, who am I going to be at my best? And how can I tap into that when I feel like I'm at my worst? Or when I feel all those doubts creep in? Or when I'm just like so unbelievably uncomfortable, but I know this is what I need to do. And it's not like an uncomfortable, like icky uncomfortable in the sense that you should do things that like you don't feel are ethical or moral. It's more of just, you need to do this. It's safe for you to do this. But for some reason, like it goes against everything you've been told you should do. And therefore now you're kind of questioning everything. And we need to figure out how to break that, because like everything about entrepreneurship goes against the grain, because it's just not what we've been programmed to think and what to follow and how to build a career. So step 2 is all about, how do you break that programming and still show up as your best self? Then we move into the nitty-gritty. Phase 3, all about who you're going to serve. And this is so important. It's the most important part of the program, and why I think the coaches who go through this program are so successful, because we take the time to get to know who it is they're showing up for, aka identifying your niche market and making sure that they exist, A, that they have the problem that you can solve, B, that they desire a solution, so they desire your solution to their problem, C, and that they're willing to pay for it, D. I don't know why I did that backwards, but that they're ready and willing to pay for it, and that you can build a program that provides them that fair value exchange for the price point that you need to be charging in order to make it make sense for your financial goals, which we determine in the first step, in the first phase. So phase 3 is all about like, how do I define my ideal client, and how can I really understand them and make sure that what I want to offer to the world is going to work for them and that they want it. And we answer all of that through this work of definition, through this work of research and doing that market research. We also answer the basic questions, like when you hear about market research, like how do I actually do market research? How do I actually find these people to interview them? How do I actually, or what questions do I actually ask that actually get me results? And all of that stuff you get provided to you. Again, because this is a buildable step-by-step program, you get the tools that you need to be successful within each step. It's not just like, I'm not just coming to you and saying, you should be doing market research, but you got to figure it out yourself. And I feel like a lot of programs did that when I invested in them. Like they said, you need to, find your niche, you need to identify your ideal client. But then they gave me kind of like just a really basic ideal client avatar profile to fill out. And then I was like, okay, now what? And they're like, now go research them, interview them. And I'm like, okay, but like, what am I supposed to ask? And I did so much market research, I remember, and it just didn't go anywhere because I didn't know what to ask. If you're asking like, what am I supposed to ask? We're answering that question for you within the blueprint. And what you get from this process is so valuable, not only in the program you're going to create for these clients, but also in how you're going to market to them, how you're going to sell, how you're going to show up where they're hanging out. You get all of that information, and also like what it is you're going to say in that marketing. What do they care about? What are they thinking about? How can you create content that is relevant and relates to them? All those questions we start to answer in that third phase. Then we move on to the fourth phase that really answers a huge amount of questions for my clients, for new aspiring coaches, which is, what does an invaluable money coaching program even look like? And how do I make sure that I'm creating the right program for my clients? Not only that, but we help you answer, because I think a lot of people feel like, okay, I know who I want to serve, but I have so many ideas. And how do I distill all of those ideas down into an actual step-by-step program or something that I can provide to my clients that makes sense and feels like it flows naturally? And also the question, how do I make sure, like, how do I create a program that is still personalized to my clients, especially if it's going to be one-on-one? What does that look like? And not lastly, I mean, there's so many questions in this phase that we answer just about how to create that life-changing program. But lastly, that question, how do I make sure that I am building a program that is valuable enough, right? We all want to make sure that we're really giving everything and it's not too simple, or, like someone feels like they purchased and invested in this and then didn't get their money's worth. So how do we make sure you're providing enough value for the price point that you want to charge and for the price point that you're expecting your clients to pay? So phase 4 is one of my favorite phases because we get to take all that hard work that you put in from phase 3. Remember, this is a building process. That's why it's so step by step. We get to take all that hard work that you put in phase 3 to get all that great information. And now we get to take it and put it into something that is sequential and that makes sense and that flows. And also you get to learn what really goes into that invaluable money coaching program. How do you make a money coaching program life-changing and like irresistible and almost priceless? And that's what we answer here. Obviously, once we do that, then we have to move on to the 5th phase, which is answering the question, how do I get clients? How do I get people to buy this program? And if you already have some clients, well, how do I get more people to know about my business and attract them and then ultimately, make this offer? A lot of my clients who come to me and a lot of money coaches that I talk to out in the world are constantly asking me, how do I find my clients in the first place? Like, how do I find clients, period? And what do I say? And how often should I say it? How often should I talk about it? What should I talk about? And then how often should I talk about it? And especially like, how often should I talk about my program? How often should I be selling versus educating? How do I even talk about my program? And how do I engage with these potential ideal clients? Like, how can I make sure that they're a good fit? And then how do I, get them attracted to this program, my business, and me as a coach? And phase 5 is all about the marketing and focusing on marketing. And we answer these basic questions, and then we answer some of the other questions that I know so many coaches and even, anyone in business has, which is, where should I be focusing on when it comes to, social media or creating content? Do I need to build an email list? Do I need to focus on creating a freebie? Do I need to be in every single place? How do I create content that is consistent and sustainable without burning myself out or without running out of ideas or, just feeling overwhelmed by all of the options? Like how and where should I start with this marketing stuff, and how do I make it sustainable and doable for me, because I am a one-person show, or maybe you have a VA who's helping you, but there's only so many of you. And so though, like, everything about marketing is what we cover in phase 5, and ultimately we create your marketing plan that can stick with you beyond the blueprint. You can keep it forever and ever. Amen. It's yours to keep and apply, and it's now your tool to use for your business. And then obviously the next natural question is, okay, I have this program idea. I know how to talk about it. I know how to get people to know about it. I know how to find clients, but then how do I ultimately sell my program to them? And we cover all the questions that most people have about sales, right? How do I sell without feeling icky or salesy or, like I'm selling myself out? How do I have a sales call? How do I have a sales conversation with someone? And how do I, what does the entire sales process look like? Not just the sales call, but leading up to it. And then also, if someone says yes, what do I do next? Or if someone says no, what do I do next? And I think there's so much uncertainty there because a lot of people don't go into the logistics or want to make sales sound easier than it is because, if it's easy, you're more likely to do it. And we do make sales, in terms of the program and how I teach it. I do try to make everything as easy as possible so that you will do it and that it's not as scary as it seems. But also I go through every single step with you in the sales process because that is equally as important, and we need to make sure that you feel confident going into your very first or just your next sales call or sales conversation if you're not doing sales calls. So we cover the entire selling gamut. How do you collect money? What do you need to have in place in order to onboard a client, and all of that good stuff when it comes to actually turning a prospective client into a paying client. Finally, the last 2 phases, sometimes my clients don't even get to because we get so focused, they by this time. And even before it, sometimes they already have clients who are signing up for their program. And now we need to focus a lot of our time on, making sure those clients are onboarded and making sure that they're actually creating the program that they outlined in phase 4. They're actually developing it and delivering it to their clients. But for those who do have the time, or for clients who might graduate from the blueprint but still have questions or still want more tools, we cover all of that in phases 7 and 8. 7 is really focused on how you as a coach can delight your paying clients and make sure that you find more of them and just allow them to have a really good experience. And 8 is really focused on the business aspect of this. How do you run this business now without that business running you? So in 7, with delighting the clients, we focus on answering the questions, how do I onboard clients? And I give you an entire onboarding process. How do I host a coaching call, a successful coaching call? How do I deliver my clients unmatched support through my program? How can I under promise, which is what you do when you sell it, and then over deliver in the actual delivery? And how do I make sure my clients don't take advantage of my time? Right? There's always that kind of catch-22, you want to over deliver, but you also, this is a business at the end of the day. It's not your entire life. You need to live your life outside of your business. You need to set boundaries. You need to make sure that a client isn't really taking advantage of you. And so how do you appropriately set those boundaries from the get-go? And then how do you personalize your coaching? So taking this curriculum that you've most likely built from phase 4, and how do you actually personalize it for each and every client and make sure that, again, they really feel cared for in the process of your program and the work that they're doing with you. And of course, how do you get referrals? How do you get testimonials? How do you ask for those things? And how do you kind of build your network also of strategic partners and just making sure that you can get even more clients in different ways other than just through kind of the traditional marketing plan that we build in the first place, right? How can you have clients refer clients? How can you have strategic partners refer clients? How can your testimonials help you bring in more clients? And so on and so forth. And then, like I said, with 8, we focus on how to run this business that you've now built without it also kind of monopolizing your time and taking full advantage of you without you really noticing it. So we answer the questions, how do I organize my calendar? Right? I think a lot of people know that time management and even more so energy management is really important. You might have even experienced this already where you find time slipping away and you don't know how you can do this on a sustainable level. And I show you and teach you my best kind of time management and energy management hacks and tricks and what I do and some suggestions for you as well. How do you organize your business? All of the files that you might have on your computer and all of your ideas, how do you keep that in an organized way so you can keep yourself sane, but also if you ever hire someone, how you can help them stay organized and, it's not just all unorganized chaos in your head that you're trying to communicate to someone. And then how do you keep your clients organized? How do you tell one from the other and keep all those notes and make sure that you're reminded to check in on them, especially if you have a bunch. It's not like you're naturally going to remember like, oh yeah, client C, I need to check in on Tuesday, and client A, I need to check in on Friday, and client X, I need to check in on Wednesday. Like even though we're all good people and you're going to have a really great relationship with each and every one of your clients, you're not expected to just naturally remember that. There is an organizational process to keep all of that straight as well. So I can honestly say, even if my clients don't get to phases 7 and 8, because they're now focused on actually like making money, making an impact on their clients, all of these questions are also answered for them there so that they always have that to fall back on. But some of my clients get to it and some is like, that's the bonus content that they get after they're already getting the results they're looking for in their business, which are the exact results that attribute to how the Wealthy Coach Blueprint has generated over $150,000 in revenue for all of my clients to date, and how much they're able to create an impact in this world and just be able to finally run this business that they've always wanted to run. So if you're standing here and you're going, I have so many of those questions and I am looking for those answers, but it's not just about getting the answers to these questions. It's also about having the support to be held accountable and having the mentorship to get advice or, bounce ideas off of, or just to be able to report, yes, I've done it and I'm ready to move on. And now what is the next step? Then the Wealthy Coach Blueprint is exactly what you're looking for. It's everything I wish I had when I started my business. If I had it, it wouldn't have taken me 3 years to get to where most of my clients get in 3 months. And it's answering all of those questions that I hear over and over again from clients who I start working with, but also I see out in the world. And it's there for you. I've created it for you because I needed it. And again, these are the questions I get asked. And I knew that we needed a place to learn about business, not just, get a certification in money coaching if that's your jam, but also like learn how to actually do the business side of things. So if you're ready to sign up, this is potentially one of the last times you'll be able to join us inside of the Wealthy Coach Blueprint for the year 2022. I have some announcements to make in a couple months, but not ready to share those yet. But I'm just saying, fair warning for you, if this is your time, if this is your year and you don't want to miss out on the opportunity to build your money coaching business this year with the Wealthy Coach Blueprint being a support system for you, then I would not hesitate on signing up now, or at least inquiring now, so that you know what that could look like for you, how the next 3 months could really unfold for you. So head to wonderwealthy.com/blueprint to check out even more of the details if you're interested in the nitty gritty and the logistics, how often we're going to chat and what all of that looks like. And of course, you can fill out an application. It's no strings attached, but if you want to, take that next step and show me that you're ready to take that next step, then I'm happy to initiate a conversation with you. However you are comfortable, we can jump on a call or chat over DMs or email, whatever feels good for you. And you can do that by going to wonderwealthy.com/blueprint. The application is there ready for you. And again, just a handful of spots available for this spring, summer season, if you will, of Blueprint enrollment. So do not wait. Head to wonderwealthy.com/blueprint. And I cannot wait to connect with you and talk about your business even further. That's a wrap for this week's episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today and letting me tell you all about the Blueprint and how many questions we answer, but also just share my love for it and my how proud I am of it, but also celebrating all the clients who have been through it thus far. Until next time, I hope you wander wealthy.